Salve, discipoli. I'm going to talk fast, but the good news is you can stop this video, pause it, rewind it, save it for later, screen capture a slide that you want to have forever and ever. Let's get started. So we left off with participles last time and we didn't do any verbal nouns in detail. We're going to start off with infinitives this time. This should be completely review, but some of you have always struggled with different kinds of infinitives even though you felt okay with the second principal part infinitive. So I want to make sure you get all the details that you need to get. There should be 6 forms of the infinitive if you do the math, because infinitives use 3 of the tenses and both of the voices active and passive. But for some strange reason, the future passive infinitive doesn't exist. I actually think it does exist because you should be able to build it the same way you build the other infinitives that have participles, but I digress. Official charts and synopses say that it does not exist. Okay, here's the good news. Of the 5 infinitives, 3 of them are one-form wonders. Once you create the infinitive, you're not going to need a chart to manage that infinitive anymore. 2 of the infinitives are built on participles, and participles, as we all know from the previous video, are adjectives. And adjectives have to agree with their nouns in gender, case, and number. Therefore, those infinitives follow some charts and have to make some changes to agree with their nouns. Infinitives are translated into English with the English word to, like to verb. But if you have an indirect statement, you don't use the English word to, you use a normal sounding verb. But that's a different review video. I just wanted to make sure that I reminded you that not all infinitives are translated with the word to. Alright, here comes the infinitive chart of awesome. You will recognize it from a worksheet last year. Don't be scared of it. When I'm done telling you about it, screen capture it and use it later. It is intended to help you. We'll start off with the present active infinitive, and this one's the easiest, very, very easy. It's always your second principal part. So there's amare, which means to love, and I'm just going to pre-fill all the other present active infinitives in this chart all at once. Here we go. And you can see that they are all following that same pattern. These are all the second principal parts of the verb. Any of these verbs, look them up in the glossary. This is its second principal part. I've highlighted esse in blue because the infinitive of sum, which means to be, plays a prominent role in forming other infinitives. You're going to see it later, and I've made them all blue. Watch for it. All right, let's look at present passive. For amare, which is present active, all we're going to do is change that final short e to a long I. There it is, amari. And this means rather than to love, it means to be loved. Now, a couple of the other conjugations are going to do the same thing. Change the last short e to a long I. So you see that's true for second conjugation, docere, and fourth conjugation, audiri. Now, the other ones that I didn't fill in for you do something different. They completely lose the ere and replace it with a long I. Those are the ones that are tricky to remember because you'll be reading through, you'll see them in a sentence, and you'll think it's some sort of like genitive or some sort of nominative plural, and you'll be like, what is this? But the infinitive chart of awesome is here to help you out. When I get the entire chart filled out for you, screen cap it. Alright, perfect active. Anytime I say perfect active anything, be it infinitive or a normal indicative verb, or even a subjunctive verb. If I say perfect active, use the third principal part. The third principal part of amo is amawi. We're going to use the isse inflection to create the perfect active infinitive. I colored it blue because it is a form of esse. It's just being used as an inflection and one of its letters changed. Pretty cool though, right? Because you know esse is an infinitive of sum, and you're using that infinitive to build another infinitive. So it like infinitivizes the third principal part of the verbs. Alright, perfect passive. Super duper crazy easy. Fourth principal part, and esse. It's a phrase rather than a single word. I'll pre-fill the translation to have been loved, and here come the other conjugations. There they go. Okay, last but not least, certainly not least because they take the longest to say, are the future actives. So remember we formed future active participles in the previous video. If you combine that with essay as a phrase, you've made a future active infinitive, and they translate really funny. To be about to love. Remember that I talked about indirect statements a couple of slides back. When you use these, it's usually in an indirect statement, and then they don't actually get translated as infinitives, so they don't sound so funny. But in this chart, we're translating it as an infinitive, and it looks kind of funny. That's alright. Here come the other ones. Alright, now's a good time to pause and screen cap. Look at that beautiful chart. The 4 that have holes, those forms don't exist because those verbs cannot be made passive. Alright, that's what I have for you on this episode about infinitives. And next time we will do gerunds and maybe even gerundives and maybe even supines. Have a great day.